Okay. Hey guys, welcome to the Whole Lot of Jesus podcast. This is a podcast where we talk all about testimonies. I'm your host, Carley, and this month we are celebrating moms for Mother's Day. So if you are a mother, just know Happy Mother's Day or Mother's Month. And this is an exciting series that we are doing. I'm super excited about this. It's kind of a vlog series and a podcast series together. And so if you're listening to this, really be sure to go check out the YouTube channel. We're going to have some vlogs of what it's like to be a stay-at-home mom, what that's like, different stuff and different topics vlog related. That won't necessarily be on the audio version of the podcast, but we're still going to have great stuff to include on the audio version. But be sure, if you want to see what that life is like, go check it out on our YouTube channel. So today I really wanted to kind of share with you my personal journey of what it's like being a mom. And I want to share with you some things that the Lord has really shown and revealed to me as I've been a mom, and just some mindsets that I've had to break, the good, the bad, all of the above, but also share with you the beautiful part of motherhood. And yeah, we're just gonna kind of get into it and go with it. So Briston and I have had a lot of dreams leading up to getting pregnant, and so we really felt like the Lord was telling us, hey, y'all are about to become parents. Now, I'm going to be honest, I feel like I had a really great mom growing up. She was just, she wasn't perfect. She made mistakes, but just overall as our mother, I think she did very good in how she raised us. And, she and my dad really raised us with this idea of trying our best. They didn't care if we got first or if we got all A's. They really cared about our effort, and they always emphasized that as long as we tried our best and we gave 100%, that they were going to be satisfied and proud of us. And I really do appreciate that as a parent and as a mom, because as a child, you want to, make your parents happy and you want to make them proud. And I did not have this pressure to necessarily get first or have to win all the time, or thinking that they were going to be disappointed if I didn't win or if I didn't get this position or whatever it was. I knew, okay, as long as I gave 100%, as long as I tried my best in whatever I did, my parents are going to be proud. And they really did show that. Don't get me wrong, they're competitive. They're both very competitive, and they want us to win when it comes to sports, and they wanted us to get all A's, but they also understood, like, as long as you're trying your best, like, we can't expect more than that. That's the highest expectation we can have. And so going into thinking about having a child, you really look back on how your parents raised you and the experiences that you had, and you really start to analyze, okay, what do I want to bring into this motherhood, this parenting with my child, and what do I want to leave out? And so definitely what I wanted to leave in was that concept of, I want Briley and whatever other kids that we have, I want them to know that Briston and I don't expect them to be perfect. We don't expect them to always win, but we do expect them to try their best. We do expect them to work hard, and we do expect them to have good work ethic and to always give 100% effort. And so I think this definitely gives you the freedom, and you're not bound by having to perform. Now, I still struggle with that as a perfectionist, but I do think that telling your child, hey, I just want you to try your best, gives them the freedom to not think like, I have to perform a certain way for my parents. But I really today want to talk about servanthood whenever it comes to being a mom. That is probably the biggest thing that I have learned since becoming a mom, is that it is a very serving, sacrificial decision. And it's a very serving, sacrificial role when you become a mother. And I also want to say that the biblical viewpoint of motherhood is not a burden. Like, something that I realized as soon as I became a mom was this is a whole new joy and a whole new love that I can't experience outside of parenting. Like, once I became a mom, I finally understood, the light bulb went off of what people meant when they said, hey, like, this is a love that's just different than everything else. This is a love that you don't, like no other, that you don't experience with anything else, not even your spouse. It is a different type of love, and I never understood that until I became a mom. And especially as a mom, I'm going to be honest, a married mother, I'm married and I'm a mom, they go hand in hand. You are serving all the time. You are giving all the time. You're doing things for your husband because your husband needs a helper, and there's just some things that you're like, you just got to do. And it's funny and it's a joke, but it's also true. Like, they just need help with some things, and you help them. And so you're giving in that way, but then you're also serving your child. And your child, until they, probably become like 10, 11, 12, they're fully dependent on you for survival. They can't do really anything or much by themselves. And just seeing that role of, when Jesus says, like, in order to be my disciple, you have to lay down your life, pick up your cross, and follow me. And every day, I remember for probably the first month, any type of change that we experience is hard, and there's an adjustment period. So I also, if you're going to be a new mom, I also want you to have grace in the fact that it might take you a little bit to get used to this new role, and that's okay. I don't think God, when he gave you the blessing of being a mom, I don't think he expected you to be perfect at it the moment that you give birth. I think he gives us time to learn and adapt and adjust, and there's grace in that. And so I want you to know that. But as I became a mom, probably for the first month, doing the tasks of constantly changing her diaper, constantly feeding her, I had the mindset that it was a burden. I'm not even joking, y'all. Like, I did not have joy in doing it. Now, I was recovering from a C-section, and your hormones are going crazy because you just gave birth, and XYZ. Like, yes, there are those reasons. But also, I mentally, just mentally, was kind of checked out. Like, I knew I wanted to be a mom, but there were a lot of selfish tendencies that I had that needed to be broken. And I needed to lay down in order to be the mom that God had called me to be to her. And so this goes into our core values, which is stories and servanthood, which we're going to hit on today, and stewardship. We're going to hit a little bit on that today too. Stories, servanthood, and stewardship. And I really want to hit on servanthood. And I really want to hit on this morning when I was reading James chapter 1. And it's so interesting, guys, because the book of James is not written by the disciple James. It's actually written by Jesus's half-brother named James, his half-brother. And the very beginning of this letter, James writes, James, a servant of God. He doesn't introduce himself as James, the half-brother of Jesus, which he could have done because he was the half-brother of Jesus. That would have been a title. He calls himself a servant of God and a servant pretty much of Christ, his half-brother. And when you think about being raised as the half-brother of the Messiah, I'm sure there were times where he felt burdened by the responsibility that, because of Jesus being his half-brother, he was given. And, his mom, Mary, I'm sure that there was conflict. I'm sure that there was tension and jealousy and frustration and anger and all these emotions that he experienced. And he, as James, really had the choice, really had to make the decision, am I going to humble myself and submit myself under the authority of Christ, under his position, his title, and serve him like I'm called to do, or am I going to be selfish and serve myself? And y'all, that was something that hit so hard this morning, is when you become a mom, it is not about you. Like, your child, my mom always says, like, I know I'm staying at home and right now I'm helping my husband with his business, but my priority, and even Briston says this, your priority is your child. That goes number one. Before anything I do for Texas Outlaw, my priority is Briley. I have to take care of her. Like, that is what I'm called to do in this season of life. And yes, I'm also called to help my husband's business and work out and steward my body and serve at our church and, do these other things that God has blessed us with. But the number one thing that right now he's called me to do is to be a mom, to fully be a mom. And I forget where I heard this from, but I heard this from someone who was super busy. I forget who it was, but they said that they wanted to, and they kind of changed their mindset, that they wanted to be fully present with where they were at. They were so busy that they'd be with their family, but they'd be thinking about work. And then they'd be at work, but they'd be thinking about this. And then they'd be here, but they were thinking about that. And they weren't fully present in where their feet were at. And they said what really changed their life was that they stopped looking to the future. They stopped looking to the past. They stopped being somewhere else than where their feet were at. And they started mentally saying, no, I'm going to be fully present in this moment. And I'm going to fully take it in. And that really changed my perspective, because something as moms, we need to understand that I think, my parents have explained very well, is you only get 18 years with your child living at home with you. You only get 18 summers. You only get 18, seasons, full seasons with your child. And so being fully present and not rushing to the next season or hoping for the previous season, but actually mentally in your mind saying, no, I'm going to be all in and I'm going to be fully present at where my feet are at and where we are. And going back to servanthood, this morning, that just popped out so much about James, that he called himself a servant of the Lord, and he took that on as his title. And as moms, essentially, we are servants. And the definition of a servant is you're a supporter, you are a devoted helper, which I love that, because the word devoted means that you're loyal, you're committed, you're fully engaged, you're all in, you're devoted, you're fully in it. You're a helper. You're helping them. You're helping guide them. You're like the little guide that's helping them figure out how to do life and making sure that they're going on the right path. I mean, it's beautiful. And that's who you are. And your focus has nothing to do with self. And when you look up the definition of a servant, it actually says, you are like a personal assistant, usually employed, but you are a personal assistant fulfilling someone else's duties that they need to be done. Your full focus is on someone else. And the Lord, guys, the Lord really had to convict me. He convicted me. And he said, you are called to be a servant. I am asking you to lay down your selfish wants and to fully devote yourself to someone else's wants and needs. And as moms, I just want to encourage us with that. Thinking about that is hard. You mean God, every day I have to wake up and deny myself. Every day I have to wake up and instead of saying, Carley, what do you want to accomplish today? Or what are your goals? Or, whatever, Instead of saying that, look to my husband and say, babe, how can I help you accomplish your goals today? Look to my child and say, how can I help you fully be who God has called you to be and steward this well and be the mom and fully focus on you. And that doesn't mean that we lose ourselves. I want y'all to understand that. Having a servant mindset does not mean that you're going to lose who you are. Actually, you're going to gain the true identity that Christ has called you to gain. Because Christ was the ultimate servant. He even says, the greatest one among you is the servant. And Christ is our ultimate servant who served not only God the Father, but served us. He washed the disciples' feet, which was a very sacrificial thing to do. And in this world, in the culture that we have, it is so self-driven. And I want to break that lie as a mom. As a mom, don't get me wrong, don't lose yourself in making your identity in your child. Or making your identity in the fact, fullness of, oh, I'm a mom and that's all I am. That's unhealthy. That's not what I'm saying you're doing. What I'm saying you're doing is your identity is in Christ. And through that, you're going to be the ultimate servant like he was to your family. And he's called you to deny your selfish desires. And that's something that God has recently called me to do. And it's hard and it's refining. And I don't necessarily like it, if I'm being honest. But he has called me to lay down my desires and to turn the focus off of me and turn the focus to him, number one, to my husband and what my husband is trying to achieve through Texas Outlaw, but also to my child. And that was hard to hear this morning. I did not necessarily enjoy hearing that. Why didn't I enjoy hearing that? My flesh didn't enjoy hearing that. Because I think with our culture and what's being told in the world, like what we're seeing is it is such a self-driven culture. And we even heard this in a previous podcast that we interviewed, and it was called A Spouse of a Business Owner. And, it's like, you go do you, boss babe, boss girl, all that stuff. And yes, like I do think as a mom, you should have goals. Don't lose yourself in your motherhood. I think you need to, I think it's good to, and I said this, I'm going to say this in the blog series. I think it's good to wake up and to shower and to work out and to present yourself, get dressed, just not be in your jammies all day. I think that is a good thing. But I think everything has balance, and we can sometimes take things to too extreme. And so I want us to caution ourselves at how much we're looking at ourselves. Like, how much are you looking at yourself? Like, be real. How much are you looking at what you want? Like, when you wake up in the morning, how amazing would it be, again, like I said, to instead of turn to yourself and say, well, Carley, what do you want to do today? Or what do you want to accomplish today? To, for instance, I work for my husband's business, so I turn to him and say, hey, babe, what do you want me to accomplish today? What is something that I can help you with? Or turn to my daughter and say, what can I help you accomplish today? What can I help you grow in and learn? And how can I serve you as my child? And as a mother, it is being the ultimate servant. You are being the ultimate servant. And our idea of motherhood is really wrapped around our experiences, what we read, what we see, and what we've experienced. And I want to caution us because especially with TV shows and movies, I think that it's very tempting to persuade and put on this propaganda that motherhood can have it all. You can pursue the full-time career. You can pursue being a great mom. You can pursue your personal relationships. You can pursue marriage. And actually what I've seen in trending, cultural, worldly TV shows, movies, and things like that is it totally diminishes, sorry, took me a minute to figure out how to say that word, diminishes the family unit, serving the family unit, and it serves self, serves outside relationships, serves career goals. And I'm just going to be honest, okay? I have not accomplished like everything that I want to accomplish when it comes to career. But something that I realized early on in motherhood was that nothing, no career goal, nothing, literally nothing can take the place of the joy and the love that comes with having a child. It can't. And I know that the world, again, especially around the topic of abortion, presents this picture that it's a burden, but it's not. It's not a burden. Having a child is a beautiful thing. Having a child is something that we're called to do as Christians. We're called to do as humans. God said, be fruitful and multiply. And so I just want to ask in your life, what are you multiplying? And are you multiplying good things? And I just, again, really want to hit on servanthood. And I want to encourage you. This is a shorter video, but I want to encourage you to be a servant. Be a servant to your community. Be a servant to your family. Be a servant to everyone but yourself. Put yourself last. And it's funny because I'm going to end with this, but I recently had a lot of insecurities. Okay, so Briston and I live in East Texas. We really don't have any family. Family is at least an hour away, the closest family. We don't have any family in the town that we live in. And as a stay-at-home mom, there are times where I feel very alone. And I don't feel like I have community. And we moved here a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. And there are times where I'm like, do I have any friends? I don't feel like I have any friends, and I'm just being honest. And I do have friends, okay? I don't think that I don't. But, I look and compare the community that I had in college, and it's not like that here. Now it's different because we're married and we have a growing family and the focus changes. But there are times where I feel very alone. And recently, there was just so much insecurity going on inside of me. And I think this morning, with God refining me and, turning the focus off of myself, I realized, maybe the reason I have so many insecurities and I'm struggling right now is because I'm too busy focusing on myself and not focusing on those around me. And not being the devoted helper and the supporter that I should be to those around me. Maybe I'm trying to be the devoted helper and supporter to myself. Maybe I'm trying to serve myself. And once I took the hat and shifted it and started looking at other people and having this mindset of serving them, I haven't struggled. And I haven't had those insecurities anymore. It's like they've literally gone away. But so I just want you to know that anytime you have insecurities revolving around yourself, you're probably focusing on yourself too much. But, yeah, guys, this is just, this vlog series is Dear Mama with love, blank. And the hope through this is to encourage you as a mom. This is kind of the introduction, and this is going to be a great series. I'm excited about this. I want us to celebrate Mother's Day. God, it's crazy. I'll end with this. God loves mothers. I mean, He created mothers. When you think of the nature of a mother, and you think about your mom, and you think about, the comfort that she provides, or you think about the love that she gives, or the physical needs that she gives. There are so many godly qualities, characteristics that we can take out of a mom. And not everybody's perfect. And so if you're sitting here like, I didn't have a mom like that, my mom didn't care about me, and I want you to know that your mom probably was going through a lot of struggles. And your mom might have been trying her best. I mean, we don't know. Okay? She might have just been trying her best to survive. Number one, for herself, and then also for her family. And so I want you to just release that and know that there was nothing against you personally for why your mom acted the way that she did. Okay? It wasn't about you. Okay? She was fighting probably her own battles and dealing with her own stresses and her own traumas and her own insecurities. And it just repercussioned onto you. And so, really, guys, I think as moms and as parents, we need to realize how impactful our influence on our children are. It's so funny. I'll end with this, but it's so funny. Briley is 7 months. Okay, she's going on 8 months, and I'm starting to notice your kids copy your behavior. They really do. She can't talk, but she will. I tend to stick my tongue out, and I've noticed she sticks her tongue out. Or, when Briston gets home from work, he tilts his head to the side and he goes, hey. And I've noticed when people walk up to her and she's in the stroller and we're in public and they walk up, she tilts her head to the side. She's mimicking how we're acting. She's mimicking our facial expressions. She's mimicking what we're doing. And that's so important. That's so much more important than words. I mean, again, she can't talk. And so realizing that as a mom, you have such an impact on your child. That's something that I'm realizing is I have such an impact on on my child and how my child responds and behaves and things like that. And so I want to teach them to not necessarily react in a perfect way, but to react in a godly way, to react out of God's character and out of the fruits of the Spirit, and how to adjust when you don't react that way, and what to do when you don't react that way. And so the biggest thing that I've learned in this process is, number one, there is a love so great and there's a joy so great that comes with motherhood that you can't experience in anything else. And number two, I'm called to be a servant to my child and to my husband. And right now in the season of life, that is the focus. Not self-gain at all. And I want to encourage you with that. And I want to encourage you to be the servant that Christ has called you to be. So happy Mother's Day, guys. And welcome to this vlog series.